Are you a new beginning author or an experienced author, experienced writer? And if you're new, if you're in the process or would like to write your first book, but has been procrastinating, you're at the right place because what I want to do is share my journey on the writing of my ninth book. So I'm pretty excited about it. I never really actually shared my journey with people on how I've actually written my books. But I'm going to actually do that today because I get many questions in regards to writing, how you get started, what if you got writer's block? Do you have some tips on how you market and sell your books, self-publishing? So we're going to be talking about various things, obviously not all of that today, but what I wanted to do is I'm going to walk you through my personal journey as I'm actually writing the book. This gonna probably be in several different parts over the next, I'm guessing over the next 3 or 4 weeks. So make sure you check in every Saturday to see what I have on the next phase of writing the book. With that said, let's just jump right in. When I'm beginning to write my book, I actually have it broken down into several different phases, and we're going to be talking about phase one and when it comes to writing books. So let's just jump right in. And if you actually, before I do that, if you have any tips, especially if you're an experienced writer and publisher, if you have any tips for us, please drop them below because I'm always looking for tips and smarter ways to actually write my book. So if you got any tips or if you have any questions, make sure you put them in the comments below. Okay. Well, let's get started. I have 6 steps that I want to cover in this first phase writing a book. And the first is how do you come up with your book idea or your book topic? Well, in my case, I've been writing books for what, 10 or 15 years and been doing webinars and workshops. And in this case, I decided to go back and look at one of my popular webinars and workshops that I've done, and that has been on collaborations, partnerships, and joint ventures. How, if you own a business, how can I build my business through establishing some collaborations, some partnership agreements, or a joint venture with some other people, which is one of the best strategies that you can have, proven strategies for building your business quicker, faster, reducing the risk, reducing your potential capital outlay, but there's also some downsides to it as well. So what I did, because that class was so popular, I'm actually going to write a book. And during this journey, I'm going to be writing an ebook. And for the first time, which I've never done, I'm not sure how to do it, is going to be actually converting that to an audio book as well. So that's one thing that I've learned in the past few years. If you have a book, you have to find some way to get it converted to an audio book because that's what's happening now. So even if you did a book 10 years ago, it might be a good time to refresh and make it a audio book. So we're going to walk through that over the next 3 or 4 weeks. Okay. All right. So first step, how do you come up with the idea? That's how I came up with mine. I actually look back. So that's why I settled on the idea of writing the book regarding helping people with the process of establishing a business collaborations, business partnerships, or a business joint venture to help them leap dramatically farther ahead in building their business. Okay, so that's what I've done there. And to tell you a little bit back about me, the reason I was able to do this is because I was a business advisor. Geez, for the past business advisor, business trader, business loan officer, business consultant for about 10 or 15 years. I actually have our co-founder of our own business, Generations Empowerment Enterprises. So I do have some background and some knowledge. So that's the first thing I tell people. Write what you know about. You've heard that all the time, but it is true. However, a caveat to that now is because of AI, you don't necessarily have to have that expertise. But even if you don't have the expertise, you still need to do some research so you don't totally at 100% depend on Chat GPT or AI to write your book. That's just my personal opinion. Okay. So the first step is coming up with a book idea. So in my case, like I said, my book idea is on business collaborations, partnerships, and joint ventures. I don't have a title yet, but once I finish the book, hopefully I will have a title at that particular time. Okay. Step two, which is a big step in the process. And what I do, our first thing that I do is create a book outline. Okay. Because I've done and written books before, I kind of know what that process is and how long that process takes. And for me, in this case, because of my expertise, I created the book outline myself. I didn't use AI to help me create my book outline. So my book outline, I knew I wanted to have about 5 or 6 chapters in the book. And to give you a sense of what that is I know the first was going to be an introduction. The second one was going to be a chapter on collaborations, definition, what it is, the benefits, the disadvantages, etc. Okay. And then I was going to do a chapter on business partnerships, and then another chapter on business joint ventures. And then I wanted to do a comparison chapter. How do you compare, these 3 business strategies all side by side? And then the 6th chapter is going to be on just summarizing the process and giving you some steps to move forward. Okay, so that's my outline, my basic outline. Then within each of these 6 chapters, there's actually subsections of each one of those. And I knew what that information was going to be as well. So now with that, for me, it did take a lot of time to actually create the outline, but that has to be the first step, is actually creating that outline. And then the very last part of the outline is about the author, which is your bio. And that's going to be a critical point, because many people, when they read a book, they want to know about the author and what expertise do they have. And if they have some expertise, that means potential I can glean from the knowledge that the author has put on the page of their book. Okay. So that author's bio is extremely, extremely important and extremely critical. Okay. So then that's my outline. So that's where I started. And what I was going to do, I've never done this before, is have an AI assist me in writing the book now. Okay, now that I have an outline. So that's what I did. And I went to Chat GPT. I've used that. I have some experience with it, not writing the book. Okay, so this is the first time I'm going to have AI assist me in the process. Okay, and that process was quicker than I thought it was going to be. Now, it saved me, I'm telling you guys, using ChatGPT, once I had my outline, saved me months, because this is part-time for me. I'm not doing it full-time. So writing books is part-time. So I already committed. Sometimes books took me 6 months, okay, because I was doing it on a part-time, and maybe I shouldn't even say that, on a spare time basis, or as time permits. But an assistant AI like ChatGPT is a game changer for me. I didn't realize it was going to be that dramatic. And because I see the ads, I see all of this stuff. I know what people say, half the stuff I don't believe it anyway. But anyway, in this case, if you have the right prompts, and in my case, you have a solid outline, it makes the process go easier and much faster. Okay. And if you don't have that website, I'll put you a link to the Chat GPT website below. In my case, I do have the paid version. Okay. I'm gonna let you know I do have the paid version of Chat GPT, and that's what I use. I don't really know if there's a big difference between the paid version and the free version. From what I've seen in my little experience, the answer is yes. But this is the first time I'm using it for writing and helping me write a book. And I never used the free version for writing a book because this is my first time using it at all in writing, helping me write the book. Okay. All right. So that was step number 2, the book outline. Step number 3. Now that I've had the manuscript written and the information that I got out of it from ChatGPT, and now I have it in a Word document. Okay. So now I need to transfer this into a platform that actually writes ebooks. So that was my next step is, first of all, I have no clue about platforms that are designed for helping you write and format a book or an ebook, audio book, or anything like that. Have no clue. And so what I did was I actually started with ChatGPT and asked it to provide me with the top 10 platforms that are popular, based on features such as price and, several other different features, and list them and rank them in order 1 to 10, with number 1 being the most popular and number 10 being the least popular. Okay. So with that said, ChatGPT gave me a list. And then I just didn't use the list once. Then I started doing my own research. And a big part of that research is I did use YouTube. I asked and went on YouTube and listened to I don't know, could be some hours, YouTube influencers and people who's actually used these various products and finding out and hopefully eventually finding the people that wanted to use the products the way I wanted to use. Okay. So with that said, that was a process for me. So that wasn't overnight. That was actually a few weeks that I actually took that. Remember, I'm doing this spare time. Okay. So I end up selecting a platform called Typeset, and I will leave a link below to that. And I selected them because it met all the criteria I was looking for. The biggest criteria was friendly. Okay, it had to be user friendly. That's what I wanted. I didn't want it to be a lot of complicated or anything. In this case, it was user friendly, and it also helps you with social media posts as well as related to your book. So those are 2 big driving forces, and for me, the monthly subscription was good too. Okay, so that's why I settled on Typeset. Okay, so I researched, that was step number 3, researching and identifying. So I found the one that I like. There's a lot of good ones out there. And I only have this experience with the one Typeset. It seems to me, it was almost like a flip of a coin when it came down to which one I selected. Okay. So, but there's a lot of good ones out there. So do your research and find the one that works for you. Because there's some that might specialize in, for example, in children's books. There's some that might specialize in textbooks. There's some that may specialize in fiction. Okay. So it's interesting of how vast and how many varieties of ones, and I probably didn't even touch the surface. Okay. All right. So identified the ebook writing app, which is Typeset. Now I have to now put my manuscript into Typeset. Now that was a learning experience. Before I actually did it, I took some YouTube training. Number 1, do not start this without taking some training first, because you most likely going to be frustrated, even though it's actually easy to use. But if you're like me, you never done anything like this before, I actually took several tutoring classes, information on YouTube to get me prepared. So when I went in, I knew what to expect, which worked out good for me because now I knew exactly what I had to do. And obviously, you don't get everything in a YouTube. Okay. Some things you learn just by actually doing. So that's what I learned through that. But I'm telling you, using typeset, several things. When I was doing my book the traditional way, you had to find some editors, somebody to edit it grammatically and all of that, because that's my weak point right there. And I had several people, relatives and good friends that edit my books in the past, including my wife. And this time, when I use Chat GPT, that's the first editor. Okay, from from a grammatical point of view, that's the first editor. So I had it that one edited, and then when I downloaded it to my Word document, and Grammarly, that's another editor. So I had to edit it twice, and then when I go into Typeset, that's a third editing process. So if you put the thing in there and it's not grammatically correct or misspelled, that's going to catch it as well. So now I saved a lot of time and so forth with the editing process as well. And so that was a nice surprise. That was a nice surprise for me and saved a tremendous amount of time, guys. I can't tell you how much time that saved. Lots of time. Okay. So I end up putting all of my information in the typeset, and that's where I am now. I'm probably about 80% done and putting the information into typeset. And with that, some of the features that I love with typeset, one, it's easy to cut and paste and put all that information in. Plus, you get copyright-free photos to put in your book. Okay, because most of my books now didn't have any photos, didn't do all of it. It was strictly 100% text. Now I got photos in there, copyright-free photos in there that represents the specific topic that I'm talking about. And I like to have photos that have people in it, so it's very diverse when it comes to that as well. So people can connect. All right, so they can connect with the information that's on the page. And you can actually include videos as well. If you got copyright-free videos, you can include that in your book. Man, it was just more than what I was expecting. Okay. So that process, I'm about 80%, 85% done. So this time next week, I will be finished and I can share you about that process. So I'll be done. I will be done with that inputting that information. Okay. Let's see here. Where am I at? Want to make sure I give you all the information. Writing, so wrote the book, put it into Chat GPT. And so that's where I'm at. And the good thing, what I'm looking forward to is how it's going to help me from a social media point of view. So I understand that typeset helps do that. And then the book cover. So we shall see. So wherever I can this time around, I'm using AI. It's a learning process. You got to have some patience because it just takes me a time to actually really understand this whole AI. But the only thing I can tell you, okay, this process, even at this stage, has saved me months. Literally, actually months of time. And right now I have about almost 70 pages worth of work, and I did most of this in 2 or 3 days in my spare time. Okay, so that's phase one. So hopefully this information helped you. This is phase one on my journey on writing my 9th book. I'm excited, a little nervous in a way because I've never used AI, not to this extent, but I'm learning the process. I'm learning more about the prompts that's needed. So if you're looking at writing a book, you need to consider this. Now, the books that I've written, okay, now I'm looking at putting them in the typeset and reimagining the book, okay, making them more interactive, adding the pictures to it, adding, videos to it, links to my website to it, and all of that, and then having social media to market the book for me. I hear you can do that, so we'll see if I can actually learn how to do that. So I appreciate you guys joining me. Catch me next Saturday as well. And I'll be giving you phase two of what I was able to do this week on my ninth book. So if you got any questions, please enter them below. And I will get back to them and answer them. And this is going to be an exciting journey. I appreciate all of those who's walking it with me. And with that said, everyone have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you on next week. Bye-bye.